Good afternoon, Lakshan. I think, shall we wait for about a couple of minutes until others join?
Yeah, okay, sure, sir.
I think we will start with the interest that I think only about two are there, but since that you have joined, uh, today actually I wanted to do actually with the lesson I wanted to actually align with you for some of the uh, questions that I'm actually thinking of drafting for your final exam. Uh, so since so let's start doing only with the available people. We have only two, right? Only Lakshan and Tushar is just others. Tushara is just the students, right?
Yes.
Taruka Perera is actually a coordinator, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? From USL. Anyway, doesn't matter. We'll start. We'll start. So as I said, that the main focus today is just to go through one particular topic, and also just to align that and to ensure that you understand, and you make sure that you can answer some of the questions that which I'm intending to place in the final exam, right? So අද මේක කරගන්න පුළුවන් වුණොත් එක ප්‍රශ්න දෙවෙනි ප්‍රශ්නෙට උත්තරේ හරි. Okay. So that's the beauty. Okay. So today,
Sir, excuse me, sir.
yeah, sure.
Sir, shall I switch off the video because I'm driving?
No problem.
But
Just
I'll
listen.
listen to that.
Sure. Let's listen. Just listen.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah. So first of all, I would like to apologize. Last December, the final one. Honestly, I was so busy, and I completely forgot about this lecture, your lecture. So that last minute only, when your coordinator spoke to me, that I actually remembered. So I have a lecture. So then I canceled that. So extremely sorry about that. So that's why I have actually we have actually put additional lecture next week. I think you may have got informed about that, just to cover up and try to finish off as scheduled. Okay. So I'm extremely sorry about that. So where we stopped last time, we actually talked about the organizational change and how it moves into analyzing an organization and try to understand various things. And also we looked at how the organizational structure actually influenced this particular change. That's where I think we stopped, if I'm not mistaken, we stopped last time. So where we wanted to take it from there is actually we wanted to go through the building and engineering's the need for change, right? Now, this is very much important when it comes to a change, a topic concern. You will understand why I'm saying it is important, because even though that if you want to do a change, right? If you are not ready for a change, if your organization is not ready for that particular change, all your change initiatives might fall down, right? ඒවා එකක්වත් successful වෙන්නේ නැහැ, because you're not ready for change, right? අපි බලමු මේ components මොනවාද. We need to identify what are these building blocks, what are these components, and try to first of all try to analyze whether your organization is really ready, right? ඒක තමයි අපි මේකෙන් කරන්න හදන්නේ. හරි? Whether you are really ready for this any particular change that you are going to work on. Hurry. So I'll just talk us through. By the way, you may have seen I have changed my name also, just to inform you that I have actually completed my doctorate. So
congratulations, sir.
I'm happy to
Congratulations.
teach you like that, right? In that sense. So after 4 years of struggle, right? Anyway, so now the key thing of
Congratulations, sir.
thank you very much. Thank you. We'll have a party.
That's fine, sir.
Right. Okay.
So what stream you did the doctorate?
My teaching is business administration, and my stream is actually mainly on supply chain. Yeah. Supply chain, and especially in terms of when it comes to automation and do digital things like that. That's my area. Yeah. So I'll share some of the thoughts later on when we have time. So the key thing that we learned from the 8 steps of Kotter, and also the iceberg theory. The first thing is that to understand the need for change. I think we discussed this in detail in previous classes. Why do we need to change? Why do we need to change, right? It's very much important for us to understand why should we change, right? Because that actually sets a vision, that actually help us to, I would say, based on the iceberg theory, help us to unfreeze, right? For the preparation for the change, right? So, may slide with them may as a reminder. Now there are global pressures. There are certain drivers when it comes to public sector, since that we are working on public sector, and also there are certain industry competitions and all. Because of these various reasons, api kata kara, we spoke about VUCA world, we spoke about pestle factors, right? We talked about so many other things, why an organization is pushing towards a change, right? Then I would actually like to drive you to a small exercise. Now, all these today's exercise, what we do, are actually leading to for your final exam. Okay, that one question I'm going to put from here. It's not me the same thing, but it'll be the same thing. So you will, if you can recognize and understand this, then I think most of the things will be easier. Okay. So I want to actually break. How many people are here today now? Only 3, right? No, only 4. Oh, no, only 3, right? Only 3, right? Doesn't matter. So I will allow. I thought that many people will be there, so we can break out into multiple groups. But since that only 3 are there, so I will assign 3 of you into a group. Just take, say, 5 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever. Okay, so let's say about 6-7 minutes. You identify any organization across 3 of you all, right? And then identify a change that you need to execute in that particular organization, and decide what are the factors or what are the forces which actually drives or push or influence that particular change in that organization, that particular change. And also, I would like you to identify and list down certain things, a set of things where if you don't change in that particular aspect that you wanted to change, what will happen to that particular organization, right? What will happen to that particular organization? I think now we have 4, right? Uh, Mohammed Subain just joined. We are going into an exercise where we wanted to identify an organization, and also we wanted to identify a change that we need within that organization, and then we must decide what are the factors, whether it could be internal, external, or whatever the factors that we discuss. What are the factors which affecting that change? And more than anything, I want you to understand and realize and list down. If we don't do that change, if we don't change, what impacts will happen to that particular organization? Okay, so I'll give you about
Okay.
5 minutes, right? 5 to 6 minutes, and then we'll come back and discuss in this scenario. Now treat this as an exam, right? So this is exactly what you are going to write. If you are succeed on this, one question in your exam will be pretty easy. Okay. So let me break into two people each into one group. So I'll call you back within 6 minutes. Huh? So questions are clear. You pick an organization, either from both of you, and decide a particular problem and a change that we need to execute, and then discuss about what are the factors that actually influence in that change, in external, internal, whatever, and then discuss, if you do not change, what will happen to that organization. Those are the 3 objectives. Okay, so let's go.
Hi, sir.
Sir, we can't hear you.
Sorry. Yeah, sorry. So what is the change? Can someone go first? We had two groups.
Let's start with our group, sir.
Yeah, you can see my whiteboard,
Actually,
right? You can see my whiteboard, right?
whiteboard we
Yeah.
can see. Yes, yes.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Actually, we discuss about two things. One is actually the hierarchical change in the company.
Okay. That means that is changing in the organization structure.
The organization
Is
structure,
it?
yes.
For what?
The thing is like in the company where I'm working in the manufacturing company is a multi-level company, and there's a group CEO. Under him, there are a lot of CEOs are there. Depends on their category, like a cable business and metal business, something like.
Right.
And for that, we are seeing some gap between the managers and the CEO. Is like, for example, there are sales manager and VP order management and planning, procurement, all are reporting directly to the CEO. The thing is, there is no specific operation manager in the category. Due to that, there is communication delay always, and there is always they are depending on the CEO to take the decision. And the low level employees also, they are always waiting for what do you call the final decision, or like communication is still missing from there. So we are suggesting to introduce one operation manager. Under him, we will put all planning, procurement, and what do you call logistic and production. So it will be streamlined the entire hierarchy. One more thing, mostly the company is lacking the problem is on inventory.
Okay.
In the inventory, there are three categories like a fast moving, slow moving, and not moving. And always there is a shortage in the company for fast moving items. So since not moving and the slow moving or aging stocks are increasing, but company is not investing more on the fast moving items. Due to
Is it
that, the company
is it
the production, what do you call productivity, and their growth is very questionable.
is it
So we
because
want to change
the inventory is because that as you said, the decision making delays or communication delays? Is it something to do with that?
Subhani, shall I
yes,
answer that question, Subhani?
yes, we can continue.
Yeah, sir, it's like this. In this company, there are items that are stagnant. Uh, Without adroitness, I suppose, to my mind, before I join, they have imported certain items which are not moving at all. And those
Right.
have been, they are lying down for years. And has not taken a decision, in the sense it's little difficult to take a decision because you can't recover the money that has been already spent on that. So therefore it's
Yep.
just lying down, maybe thinking that they would get an opportunity, but to my mind they would not get an opportunity. Well, and then as a result of that, there's a quite a big amount of money that has been stagnant, in the sense lost like. So therefore, they had been very slow in filling fast moving items, and then
Right.
especially the spares. Now they import some products and then they sell them, and certain products have been already sold. But now
Right.
you see, when you sell a product, those are ice machine. I mean, this is service providing company. So ice machine, when you sell an ice machine, they require spare parts. Spare parts also have to be brought or imported by the same company, because others are not importing them. Now the customers, they ask for repairs and services where the company is finding, in the sense the technician finding it difficult to fulfill the requirement of the customers. So if this goes like this, the company will lose quite a big amount of clients, I mean, the customers, and
Mhm.
it might collapse.
Yeah,
So that is in short,
idea.
what you for.
So basically, in summary, that you want to have, basically you said the summaries. Basically, you wanted to have COO in place, right?
So in between I mean, below CEO, there should be an operational officer because
Yeah.
officer who is handling operations because they find it difficult to approach to CEO to take
Yeah.
decisions. Perhaps CEO not
Correct.
available at his level,
Yeah.
and there will be a quite big delay.
So what has influenced this particular change, according to you all? What has influenced this? Is it external or is it internal employees or is it anything else or is it budgeting or is it costing or I mean, what actually influenced this?
Subhani.
uh, Internal things by internal also external also, sir. Like, for example, like internally, like what you call company in the top level, they should decide to make the proper arrangement. In the externally, we are delaying, always customer satisfaction is losing, and we are losing the sales.
Okay. So internal also and also external we are talking about, right? That is customer, right?
Yeah,
Internal,
customer relationship.
internal maybe a frustration of the
Yes, yes,
employee itself, right? Okay, let's
of
say
course.
employees. And also, since that we have talked about shortage in inventory and all those kind of stuffs, basically internal inefficiencies, right?
Yes,
Inefficiency,
inefficiency. Yes,
and then
yes.
even the frustration of the technicians.
Yeah, so that we cover it at unemployed. So it's okay. So you have that. So if you don't bring a new CEO in between this change, if you don't execute this thing, what would happen to your organization?
To
So
my
of course we will.
understanding, yeah, to my understanding, this will affect on the routing operations very badly, and there will be an inherent delay in taking decision as a result of which that will directly have an impact on the production. That's a manufacturing company, I think, Subani.
The customer.
Yeah, overall it will be affect our returns investment. So we will be losing our target. We can't achieve the target also in yearly.
Right, sure. Excellent. I mean, there's nothing, no right or wrong answers, but this is very clear. Now, this is exactly what I want you all to do now. See, now you have identified a change, which is like bringing a new position in between CEO and the other levels because of certain reasons of the organization. And the influencing factors are actually internal employees and also inefficiencies, internal efficiencies that we need to pull out. And also externally, when it comes to customers, that customers actually, when you're getting delayed certain things, then you will have an impact, right? And also,
Yes, sir.
if you don't change, you will continue with these looting operations and also delays which you encounter. Eventually, the customers will get dissatisfied and then they will go away, right? So that's what it is. Good. Second one.
Yeah.
Second team, two of them.
Yeah, second one, the inventory issue. So that also has internal influences because
Yeah. No,
as
I said second team. Second team. Sorry.
right.
So the organization we took is London Stock Exchange. So
Right.
we are currently doing a change there. The
Mhm.
change is travel system change.
Mhm.
So we are operating in 161 locations. We have a lot of directors and managers. So they do travel for conferences, meetings, and to meet their internal teams, etc.
Right.
So the Exco board has realized that the travel expenditure is too high
Okay.
during the last few years. So they have decided to encourage only essential travel.
Okay.
And when we do only the essential travel. One thing, the travel expenditure will go down. It will be a saving for the organization, and on the other hand, organization will be able to meet the sustainability goals like net zero carbon emission goals that has been globally set up.
Right.
So there are pushbacks from the employees because now the employees have been used to book travel with the previous system for number of years, and they are very comfortable with that. So for them to again go through the trainings and all that, they are not very happy with that. One reason is that earlier, according to the system, you only take the approval from your direct manager. But according to the new system, there will be two levels of approval. So it's not only your direct manager that you will have, you will need to take an approval from finance department as well. So they will look at the travel policy and ensure that you will be exactly meeting the policy limits, not exceeding. But earlier there was managers have given flexibilities to their employees, like if they exceed $100 or something, they haven't strictly said no, they have approved those things.
Right.
So with the new changes, people won't be able to do that. Employees will have to stay within the policy, and the approval levels, when levels added to the approval process, employees feel like it's going to be very complicated. So
Right.
that is one complaint we are hearing from the employees. But if we don't do this change, what will happen is that we will continue to spend a lot of money on travel, and it will impact the cost savings of the company. The spending will be very high.
Right. Who will be the influencing factors? Why should we change? කියලා කියන්නේ කවුද දැන්? මොකද්ද මේක change කරන්න push වෙන්නේ?
Yes, because when EXCO members went through their data dashboards during the year in 2025, they have realized that the expenditure is too high. So if, for example, if there are certain conferences directors can hold virtually, but they have choose to travel to, for example, to India to do that conference in person. So when you're doing in person, that the cost is higher obviously than doing virtual. So non-essential travels have taken place last year. So that was an internal force which was asking to make the change.
Sure. Right. So, right, beautiful. Now this is exactly what we want. Now, the whole purpose of this exercise is just a small exercise. The whole purpose of this exercise is just to make you understand how to analyze, because the key thing is actually for us is mainly now we were talking about developing a need, right, to change. So as change makers, what we want to do is we must actually understand why we need change and what factors actually influence this change. And if we don't change, what will happen? So those are those elements we wanted to understand. So that the whole exercise is, so now you know how to analyze and how to understand the need for a change, right? Now there could be a lot of other complicated elements. Now if you, I mean, you could have actually taken a previous thing which we have discussed, which are the pestle factors, or that's mainly external, I would say. But most of you talked about kind of internal factors, like kind of what are the threats and strengths, and what are the things that you wanted to achieve within the organization. So that's fine. That's fine. But if you can really understand what are the other factors outside the organization, which are the pestle factors, where you can come up with an understanding of what actually influenced this change. Okay, fine. That's fine. So, අපි එක හරි එක කතා කරලා ඉවරයි. අපි ඉස්සරහට යන්න. Right. Now the key topic today is like the readiness of the organizational change. Right. Then literature වල අපිට කියනවා, now there are many factors, there are hundreds of factors, there could be hundreds of factors, but it says specifically about these key 6 factors which are actually affecting the organizational change, driving the organizational change. So when we assess the readiness of an organization for a change, it is very much important that we look at all these 6 factors and try to understand where we are when it comes to these factors. So if you can score high, if you can say that, okay, for an example, if you take leadership commitment, we'll go through one by one. So if you go through leadership commitment, now this is one of the factors that you assess the readiness of your organization, right? So if the leadership commitment has a very low score, right? If they don't, if you feel that the leadership is not really supporting, which we'll look at in the next slide, right? And if you see that, then you can come to a conclusion that whether you are ready for this change, to execute this change, or whether you are not ready to execute this change. If you are ready, at what degree, what level, what extent that you are ready, so you can strategize and plan out. And if you are not ready, then what you can do, right? Because if you are not ready in most of these parameters, these criteria, please do not execute the change, because that will not get succeeded, right? Those are the learnings that we have. So what are these 6 factors? One is the leadership commitment, resource availability, skills and competencies, right, within our organization in order to execute this change. Culture, I think we touch base a little bit, right? And obviously the past experience of different changes that in the organization that we executed, right? And then communication and transparency of your organization, which will actually impact to your change. So let's look at one by one a little in depth, right? So when it comes to change, managing change or executing a change which we need in the organization, the primary and one of the key elements is actually the leadership commitment. I think you will all agree with me on that, because without the leadership commitment, we will not be able to execute any change, right? Due to various reasons, due to very obvious reasons, which you know, right? So now, how do we assess this? Now, I have given certain questions, right, for you to assess this. Now, how do we assess this? Whether in my organization, the leadership commitment is there to execute a particular change, right? So now, some of the questions, behavioral evidence, right? Now, first thing that you need to understand is, okay, whether we actually talk about this change, whether we really talk about, whether my bosses are actually talking about this particular change, what we are going to see. Now, for example, we'll stick to an information system implementation, right? So whether they really talk about it, right, in the meetings, whether they give some certain importance into that, right? Whether he actually promotes that, right? So if it is not, then it is not coming, the change is not coming from the leaders, right? Now, if you can remember on the first couple of lectures, actually we discussed change actually initiates from the strategy. Now today also I'm going to show you how that works, right? Change initiates based on company strategy, right? So who sets strategies? The leaders, right? So leaders set strategy. So I wanted to be from here to here, right? So but if they don't support, or if they don't talk about that, if they don't how to put that, like if they don't uh, uh, if you are not convinced about that particular change, right, then no point. I mean, you cannot execute. So one thing that you can assess, whether they are talking about the change that we are going to implement, right? assume that, okay, I'm going to implement an e-procurement system or digital procurement system, right? So whether whether they are talking about it in their meetings, whether they are talking about in their casual or formal meetings, right? So, and also a key thing, are leaders willing to allocate budget or staff time, right? Now, this is a key thing. Now, a lot of people say, okay, yes, we need that, we want that and all that. But when it comes to budgets, right? Right? All that things will come into play, right? Similarly, not only budgets, also staff's time. I mean, you may understand that when you wanted to do certain change, how much support that you will get from your staffs, right? How much support that the bosses will give, in allocating different staff members for that particular project, right? අපෝ අපිට ඔච්චර train කරන්න බෑ, අපිට වෙලා නැහැ, අපිට අර වැඩ තියෙනවා, month end process තියෙනවා, අරක තියෙනවා, මේක, all that will come into play, right? So if your leaders, if you are hearing certain things from your leaders, if you experience certain things from your leaders, something like that, right, then that is actually kind of a behavioral evidence of that particular leadership commitment is lacking, okay? And also, it's very important, right? Do they model the change, right? Do they model the change? What do you mean by do they model the change? Now, for example, most of you may have experienced certain things like, then අපි හිතමුකෝ, we'll stick to that, implementing an e-procurement system for an example. So say that even after implementing the system, right, he wants, if your boss is keep on asking, okay, මට මේව බලන්න වෙලා නැහැ, මම මේ report system report යන්නේ මේ තියෙන්නේ නේ, මට මගේ පරණ report set එක ගේන්න, ඒක manually හදන්න එක මට අදාළ නැහැ, මට මේ manual report set එක ගේන්න, right? So if he is not modeling the change, right, if he is not modeling, that means that if he is not involved in modeling the change, right, things will not happen, right? Things will not happen. So those are some of the behavioral aspects where you can evaluate when it comes to change management, whether your leadership commitment is there or not, right? And also decision making signals, right? සමහර ඒවා approve කරන්න හරි මම මේක බලන්නම්කෝ කියලා පැත්තක දාලා තියෙනවා, නැත්නම් no we must get it done, get it done soon, ඒ වගේ immediate approvals එනවාද, right? Are leaders removing barriers or creating them, right? ඒතකොට සමහර කට්ටිය ඉන්නකොට අපිට මේවා කරගෙන යන්න බැරි වෙනකොට ඒ ලීඩර්ස්ලාම අපිට බැරියර්ස් වෙනවද, එහෙම නැත්නම් ඒ ලීඩර්ස්ලා අපිට හෙල්ප් කරනවද තියෙන බැරියර්ස් ටික අයින් කරලා move forward කරන්න? I can give you plenty of examples, right, in my this thing. And also stakeholder perception, that means අපි නිකන් ඔයගොල්ලෝ assess කරලා බලන්න ඉන්න අනිත් කට්ටියත් එක්ක what do they think, right? bossලා මේකට support කරනවද නැද්ද, their perception, right? So you assess. So these kind of, by doing these kind of, performing these kind of assessments, basic behavioral and decision making and various other elements, you can come to a conclusion where your leadership commitment is when it comes to this particular change, right? So you can assess and say, finalize, no, my leaders are very well committed, my leaders are very well committed in delivering this change, right? So that's a positive sign. Sometimes you may see my leaders are not committed, even though they are talking about this change, they want this change, they are talking about cost saving, etc., but they are not committed in delivering this particular change. So we'll have certain issues that when it comes to implementing certain changes. Any questions or any thoughts? Any thoughts?
Sir.
Yeah.
So now, I think you adequately covered what we also have in our mind. This is indeed a problem of the leaders. I mean, the maybe owners of the company or the leaders will say. As you correctly said, the budget, when it comes to budgeting, then they are very reluctant to spend money. Now, because of their problems only, the stuff had been stagnant for quite a long time. But when it comes to the need of the company or the service providers, and then they're reluctant to allocate required money, maybe part of that, which is not enough. Because when it comes to a service providing company, you never know what kind of repairs, what kind of breakdowns are coming to you. So
Correct.
therefore, you need to have the fast moving stuff readily available in the inventory,
Correct.
the stores physically. So totally agree with you, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's a good thought. Like, now, why these leaders are acting like that? Now, they are the one who sets strategy, and strategy actually drives a change. And then when we decide and when we plan out to execute that, why do you think that leaders are acting like that? They are not supporting, or they are not allocating budgets and all that. Why do you think? You just think about on the lines of that we talked about first couple of lessons.
Oh, well, the profit margin, I think, is one of them. I mean, they are not thinking. Of course, it's very contradictory because without throwing money, you will not be able to get the profit. Uh, but they may be thinking in terms of uh, making profit, but not in terms of making the uh, company equipped with the necessary support and assistance. That's what I see.
True. Yeah, that's one line. So I think we can how can how we can summarize is now, if you really look at even iceberg theory, and also got 8 steps, right, of change. The first thing, that is unfreezing, right? So that unfreezing has not happened properly, right? So when it come when I explain the unfreezing has not happened properly, that is because that uh, they don't understand what is the urgency of this. Now that is exactly the exercise that we did, small exercise that we did in previously, right? Sometimes they feel, okay, no, we must do this change, but they don't understand the facts. What are the areas that actually influence in this change? And also, uh, the second thing that we discussed was like, what will happen to our organization if we don't change? Right? That is why we come into the second part of this particular lecture, where we learn to set a change vision, right? That's the second part of the lecture. But it's good that the conversation came up at this point. Now we see a lot of reluctance from the senior leadership. They may not show the enthusiasm, they may not allocate budgets, they may not allocate staff. That is mainly because the unfreezing part, which is setting up the change vision, right? According to Cotter, setting up the change vision uh, is not clear. It has not done properly. So let's talk about that little later. So this is one area that we must assess, that which is whether your organization leadership is actually supporting your change, right? So that is one factor. The second factor is actually uh, the resource availability. Now, some people, some organizations, they know that they have the very clear vision, right? They understand, and their vision is very clear, and their leadership commitment is superb, right? All that is there, but they don't have resources, right? They may be their budgets may be very tight, right? They may be they may not have any contingencies, right? Right. So the resources, it's very important, right? So if the resources are not there, there's no point of executing a change at all, right? Even that you have your leadership commitment at 100%, right? But if you don't have budgets, now for example, say that, okay, you are going to implement an e-procurement system, which costs about $1 million per annum. If you don't have that budget, it's no point of talking about it, right? Because you know that you're not going to get it, right? So especially the financial readiness is very much important, right? So you need to assess and see whether financial readiness is available, right? I mean, sometimes you may not have direct access to those financial information, but based on the leaders or even finances uh, commitments that they give, okay, now we have allocated budgets, you continue, all that kind of confidence that they are getting, right? Those are very much important, right? Otherwise, whatever the change that you wanted to implement, it may not get success, right? Second, human resource, very important, right? Very much important. Now, for example, we'll stick to this e-procurement implementation, right? But if you wanted to have a sophisticated e-procurement implementation, but your staff is not ready, right? You don't have proper IT staff, right? To cater for this, right? There's a problem, right? So it's not only finance, but all the other aspects also, it's a problem. Because you don't have that resource. If you don't have that resource, there will be a problem. There will be a time that during the change execution that you'll get stuck, right? So that is when it comes to human resource. What about infrastructure? Now sometimes they may not have the infrastructure to do that, right? අපි හිතමුකෝ අපි හිතමු ගවර්න්මන්ට් එකේ අපි දැන් e-procurement system එකක් ඔක්කොම දාන්න plan කරලා අපිට කරන්න ඕන. All agree, minister agree, president agree, all that is done, budgets also allocated. But if you don't have proper technological stacks, right, within our ministries, right, proper connection, right? I'm taking a very basic one. If you don't have a proper connection, right, you cannot implement because there's no connection. They will be isolated. There will be problems during the execution, right? So the infrastructure readiness is also matters when it comes to when we assess the change readiness, right? So when it comes to resource, it's not only financial resource, but also HR as well as any other infrastructure resourcing availability, resourcing readiness is very much important, and we must factor those in when it comes to we assessing the readiness of executing a change. Okay, so I'll move on. The second thing is actually the skills and competencies, right? Sometimes we used to execute things knowingly or unknowingly. We believe that people are competent to do that certain things, right? There will be cultural and also educational gaps, right? Now, for an example, when it comes to say, we'll stick to the e-procurement system, we will stick to government e-procurement system, right? Now, you may think that it's a given that who wants to work in this particular ministry, no IT, no technology, right? Who should be able to easily operate a particular system, right? It's not the case. Sometimes an older generation person may not have that skill and competency to operate a computer, right? To operate different systems, right? So it is not that the case that we chase them out. We need to first of all identify what are those skill gaps, and we need to analyze what are the training that we must execute in order to compensate for those skill gaps, right? So we must identify all these skills and competency gaps which actually needs and which caters for the change execution that we want to continue, right? So අපි ගොඩක් කලාට පුරුදු වෙලා ඉන්නේ කියන්න කම්ප්ලේන් කරන්න මේගොල්ලෝ මේකට කැමති නැහැ මේගොල්ලෝ කරන්නේ නැහැ මේගොල්ලෝ තමයි මේ problem එක. But still, have we actually really understood whether they have the competencies in order to do that, in order to execute that? So we first of all we must do that. So that actually tells us whether your organizational skills, the people that who you have in the organizations, whether they have skills and competencies in order to execute the change initiative that we are planning to do, right? So that is very much important that when you are assessing a readiness to change, right? Then obviously the culture, right, that we discussed even last time, we discussed culture matters. So if your organization culture itself is having a resisting patterns, right? You don't innovate, right? You don't, I mean, you always think about your safety cycle. I mean, if that is how your organization operates, that if that is your organizational culture, right? So in that case, we need to identify that you have a weak culture when it comes to change initiatives, right? So I mean, again, like previous factors, this is also one key factor which organizations must assess, because without this also we'll go and hit into a brick wall, right, when it comes to change initiatives, right? Now see, now I have just put informal leaders and influencers who will who will set the narratives, right? Are they supportive or resistance in general, in cultural form, in your organization, right? හැම වෙලාවෙම ඉන්නේ ආපෝ හරියන්නේ නැහැ, ඕව කරලා හරියන්නේ නැහැ, මේව කරගෙන එහෙම කට්ටිය දින්නේ, right? එහෙම කට්ටිය ඉන්නවනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක්, right? එහෙම කට්ටිය ඉන්නවනම් ප්‍රශ්නයක්. එතකොට තව එන්න පුළුවන් psychological impacts. හැම වෙලාවෙම බයයි. මුකුත් කරන්න යම්මෝ බැනුම් අහන්න බෑ, මේ තියෙන දේ කරගෙන ලබාවපන් හැටි කියලා ඉමු. එහෙම කට්ටිය දින්නේ. Right? That's your culture of your organization, right? If that is the case, then you have a weak culture of change initiatives, right? You are with me, right? ඔගොල්ලෝ නිදි නෑනේ තාම.
Yes, sir. We are here.
Yes.
Right. Okay. Right. Okay. And this is one of the key things, right? Past change experiences. කොහොමද අපි මීට ඉස්සෙල්ලා මේ වගේ දේවල් කරන්න අරගෙන අපේ භාෂාවෙන් කියනනම් සක්සස්ෆුල් වෙලා තියනවාද, එහෙම නැත්නම් ඇනගෙන තියනවාද අපේ භාෂාවෙන් කියනවා, right? ඒතර ඒ ඇනගැනීමේ ස්වභාවය කොහොමද? ඒ ඇනගැනීමේ ප්‍රමාණය කොහොමද? right? මේක හුඟක් බලපානවා අපේ any change initiative, because the experience matters, right? Experience මේ බලන්න මේ questions ටික, did previous reforms failed, right? සමහරලාට සමහර organizations තියෙනවා අපි දැකලා තියෙනවා හැමදාම change, මොකක් හරි change එකක් ඉවරනකොට තව එකක්, එකක් ඉවරනකොට තව එකක්, එකක් ඉවරනකොට තව එකක්, right? So එහෙම වුණාමත් මිනිසුන්ට, I mean, they'll be tired, right, in executing, and එතකොට සමහරවිට ඒක successfulness එක ඔක්කොම බලපාන, right? So එතකොට මේ හැම දෙයක්ම බලපාන අපේ මනුස්සයන්ගේ psychology එකට මේ කරා. එතකොට ආපෝක හරියන්නේ නැහැ, ඉස්සලත් කරලා මේක හරියන්නේ නැහනේ, right? එහෙම තමයි නැත්තම් respond එක එන්නේ, right? Respond again, that is because of their previous experience. It could be their previous experience of any change initiatives that it's carried out, right? And also, I mean, it's when it comes to change, not only change in anything what we do in organization, we must document most of the things. I mean, if some of our change initiatives have failed, then have you analyzed that? Have you documented that? Okay, what are the remedies that we have taken to address certain issues? What are the things that we have done in order to avoid, eliminate certain risks? What are the things that we have done better in executing? What are the things that we have done wrong? What could have been better, right? මේවා ඔක්කොම document කරලා තියෙනවා that there are people we can actually change, right? So past experience in change in any initiative is one of the key factors. So whenever that you decide on a change, this is one of the key factors that you need to analyze and understand. Where have we done it? Have you done previous changes? Then how we have done it? Whether it has been a success or a failure. If it is a success, okay, what are the good things that we did? If it is a failure, why it failed, and what are the remedies that we can take in the future course, right? So again, another important factor, right? And then obviously the communication transparency is very, very, very much important, right? I think a lot of people are resisting because of this communication transparency. The people who's managing the project as well as the leaders has to be crystal clear when it comes to communication, about their objectives, about their vision. මම අර ඉස්සෙල්ලා කිව්වේ key thing තමයි vision එක identify කරන්න. There's no clear vision, right? So communication is very, very much important. So you must assess and see, right? අපි update කරන්න ඕනද regularly, right? කොහොමද අපේ මිනිස්සුන්ගේ stakeholders ලගේ මේවා ටික, right? ඒගොල්ලන්ට අපි weekly කියනවාද, නැත්නම් daily නිකන් quick update එකක් දෙනවද, නැත්නම් ලොකු meeting එකක් දාලා කියනවාද? All that, the entire communication strategy how are you going to communicate? You have to set and also assess and see how it is operating within your organization, whether you are ready for it or you are not ready for it, right? Clear? එතකොට මේව ඔක්කොම assess කරගෙන ආපුවම you can come up with, I mean there's no hard and fast rule of scoring, right? You have many ways of scoring. You can develop a score how you wanted to develop, right? But at the end of the day, you give a score for all these factors, right? What about your leadership commitment? What about the resource availability? What about the skills and competencies of your organization? What about the culture of the organization? What about the past experiences that we had? And what about the communication transparency? Now, based on these scores, you can decide whether your organization is ready for this particular change that you are planning to execute. Am I clear, or any questions that you want to ask?
It's clear. It's clear, sir. But I have not a question, but a doubt about this culture.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Tendency of the Sri Lankans is always prevent changes.
Mhm.
There are groups who think, no, no, as long as we are there, we must not allow them to do change. Whether it is going to be efficient or not efficient, I mean, they are not bothered about that. But
Yeah.
what they are bothered about, why should we allow them to do changes? This I have seen, I've experienced. And I think that is, that's kind of a very kind of bad cultural effect which is there in the mindset of the human beings in probably maybe in most of the countries. But in our country, it's very rampant. I've seen that in every sector, be it private or government.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, but of course, if you are a strong leader, of course, with a lot of resistance, you will be able to do that. But that's going to be kind of very sort of bad situation that you are going to face, and there may be a lot of challenges to be faced. But however, I've seen that you can do also, and time
Yeah.
consuming. So those are also there. But I think that there's a tendency in our society. That's what I just wanted to highlight.
That's true. That's true. So that's true. Absolutely true. Absolutely true. I mean, like we'll touch base a little bit on, what are the psychologies? Like there could be a lot of fears, sometimes there could be a lot of letdowns. There could be thinking, okay, if I'm not there, then what happens and all that kind of. So we'll touch base on that. A
Yep.
little. So these are some of the factors that, again, I'm reiterating, these are not the only factors, but these are some of the factors which actually can impact your change. So it's always better to identify where you are when it comes to your organization in these factors, right? You can actually assess and see where you are heading for, right? Right. Now I'm going to give you another. It's not going to be a small exercise. This kind of little lengthy exercise. Again, making you prepared for your final assessment. I think I have shared with you, Vajira. I can see you as a co-host, but you are a student also, right? Right. Vajira. Sorry, Vijita. Vijita.
So it keeps on changing sometimes. Sometimes my name appears as the co-host, or sometimes some other's name. I do not know how it happens.
Because when I set apart for these breaking rooms, co-host will not get assigned, so I need to manually assign. So okay, I'll do that.
Right.
How it's so anyway. So what I'm going to do now is what we are going to do now is, I think I don't know whether I think your coordinator may have shared with you this document, right? The case introduction, introducing an e-procurement system at the Ministry of Health, right?
Hmm.
So I have given a background to this case, right? I have given a background, a kind of a storyline. It's about two pages. It's not that lengthy, 2 pages, right? Now, let's focus on the way forward. With the plan launch approaching. Now we are going to launch an e-procurement system for the health ministry, right? The ministry must decide how to move from policy approval to effective implementation. While the strategic rationale for e-procurement is widely acknowledged, there is growing recognition that technology alone will not determine success, right? Now, senior leadership faces a critical question. The question is this: is the ministry truly ready for this change? And what must be addressed before implementation begins, right? Case is clear now. We are trying to implement an e-procurement system for the health ministry. And now everything is done. We know, okay, strategically is fine. Everybody agrees. Funds are allocated, right? All that is there, but that's what they say. But there's a story behind it, right? The situation. I have explained the situation. Now, with this, what I want you to do is, I want you all to, two people together, analyze, right? And identify the factors that we just discussed, the 6 factors that we discussed. And you can come up with an idea. You can come up with a recommendation saying that health, according to these reasons, we believe that health ministry is not ready for this particular change. Or you can come and say, no, with this evidence, we can see that health ministry is truly ready for this change of adopting an e-procurement system. The exercise is clear?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we are going to do that exercise. And also you come and tell us the recommendations in order to address those issues, in order to make sure that those areas are ready for the change. Now it's just time is 4 past 8 minutes. Let's say, okay, I'll give you time till I'll give you about 15 minutes. That is 2:25. And then we come and discuss and we present, both each team actually present it, and then we'll take it from there. So let me start the breakout rooms. I must put Vijita also into a room. So now there'll be 2 breakout rooms. One is room 1 will be Subain, Vijita, and it shows me also my iPad. Okay. So it will be only Mohammed, Subain and Vijita. And then the second group is Lakshan and Tushara. Okay. Right. Okay. I think with the interest of time, we are not going to take both themes separately. So we'll discuss together. Okay, we'll discuss it together. What are the findings? So objective was very clear. You can hear me, right?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yeah. So objective is very clear. Objective is to identify the readiness of the organization, which is the health ministry, in order for us to implement the procurement system. And let's look at the leadership context, leadership commitment. Okay. Yeah, you can talk.
So here the senior leadership strongly support to the reform, but the middle and the department leadership commitment is not very much aligned to this project.
Okay, senior leadership supports, right?
Yeah.
Who is the leader? Health Secretary of the Health Ministry, right?
Yes, sir, secretary.
Yeah, secretary of the ministry. So then, okay, he supports, right? I mean, he's championing this particular project, and he sees this as a very strong strategic need, and it is like kind of a part of a strong government initiative, right? But as you rightly said, the departmental and hospital levels, the leadership engagement is මොකද්ද? It's not seen, right?
Yes.
ඒ කියන්නේ අපි hospital
So
level එකට ගත්තම departmental and
they are doubtful whether
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
can be done.
The commitment is
hospital level.
inconsistent.
Sorry, sir, I got disconnected and I got connected again.
Yeah. So what we are talking about, we are talking leadership commitment. So we identified senior leadership
Yes.
supports, and departmental and hospital level leadership is not supporting, right?
Yes, yeah.
They are not very much into. Just one second, something happened to my Zoom. What happened? Suddenly went off. Can you see my whiteboard? No.
No, sir.
Uh-huh.
No, sir.
Something happened. Suddenly call came onto this iPad, and just give me a second, okay? Let me connect to the meeting from my got disconnect. 917 4932 2030. Join. Password. I don't know who puts this password for this meeting, no? Very difficult. So difficult password. Right. Then
They are auto-generated, sir.
is that so? Every time I'm trying to connect through my iPad, it's so difficult. Sorry, I have to start the new whiteboard again. Sorry about that. Now you can see, right?
Yes, sir.
Right. So we were talking about the leadership commitment. Leadership commitment, we saw the most senior leader, who is the secretary, right, is actually supporting, right? And we saw hospital level and departmental levels. What they say?
They are questioning whether this be realistic.
This will be realistic, ne? And what are the things that they say basically? How did you conclude that?
They wanted to be cautious and maybe take that wait and see approach.
Exactly. හරියටම හරි. ඒක තමයි මට පික් කරන්න ඕන. Uneven. සමහර words කියනවා මොනවාද? Wait and see. Right?
Basically, they don't want to engage in that, indeed.
Exactly. එතකොට තව middleman is මොනවද කියන්නේ? What they say?
Their concern is about increased accountability and
Exactly.
audit visibility.
So they are afraid basically. Right? It's not basically increased accountability. Accountability is also there. But basically what they say is they are afraid, right? They say whether the audit trails are visible and then accountabilities and all that. That's fine. Okay. So what do you think overall, where we stand when it comes to leadership commitment?
The support is very less.
Very less. Let's say medium.
Yes,
right?
more towards no, like.
Okay, more towards no. Let's put that there. We'll put no. Okay. We'll put no support. Only the secretary wants.
Yes.
Right. Fine. Then what about resource and infrastructure? What do you think? What about the budgets? What about the allocation for budgets?
Allocation is budget is okay for the preliminary stage, but subsequently that will not be enough.
හරියටම හරි. So budget is available for implementation and rollout, right? Budget okay for initial stage, right? But මේක කියනවා ඊළඟට අනිත් ඒවා නේ. අනිත් ඒවා කියන්නේ මොකද්ද? මේ upgrades කරන්න එක process එක.
Infrastructure upgrades.
Exactly. ඒතකොට අනිත් එක provincial hospitals වල කියනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ IT infrastructure, internet connectivity ඒවා මදි කියන එක. Right? So infrastructure ප්‍රශ්නයක් තියෙනවා, right? Infra is not ready. කියලා
They have outdated computers.
Exactly. So එතකොට ඒවා upgrade කරන්න ඕන, but ඒවා ගැන budget එකේ සඳහනක් නැහැ. So there could be a problem, right, in the long run, right? But initial budget is already done, allocated, right? It's there. So what do you think all about resource allocation, overall resource allocation? What do you think? What do you think?
It's not sufficient, sir, because now they need to think about maintaining the system also. It's not only about starting the system.
That's right.
System needs to run. If we just start and it collapse somewhere and we don't maintain, then the money is wasted.
Money is wasted. So basically, අපි කියමු initially ready, but sustain කරලා run කරන්න we don't know, but assume කරමුකෝ අපි next year budget එකට මේක දාලා මේක කරගෙන යනවා කියලා නේ අපි එහෙම හිතමුකෝ මේගොල්ලන්ට පොඩි chance එකක් දෙන්න. Right? In that context, okay, shall I put readiness medium level? Right? So let's put readiness for this. Right? Medium. Then what we have? Skills and competencies. skills and competencies. What do you think?
They don't have the skills and competencies.
Most of the middle age, except the youngsters, have been have been familiar with working with hard copies,
Yeah.
papers. But so with the only limited crowd, you will not be able to perform it. So you have to have the trained people.
Yeah. Working with hard copies. ඒක very clearly කියනවානේ. Or young
Oh,
officers demonstrate confidence, right?
Confidence.
Basic
yeah.
systems කියලානේ. එතකොට
Oh,
අනිත් කට්ටිය මේව කරන්නේ නැහැ කියලා. Training exposure to large scale,
oh.
right? ඒවා limited, right? So එතකොට අනිත් ඒවා කියන්නේ particularly under strict audit conditions මේ ඔක්කොම ප්‍රශ්න. එතකොට definitely අපිට පේනවා මෙතන skill and competency lacking එකක් තියෙනවා නේ.
Oh.
That's the gap.
Not ready, right? Let's think about organizational culture. What is it?
It's negative.
What's there?
There are some resistance as well.
There are no two-way dialogues. I think the culture is mostly depending on informal sources.
Exactly. Yes. It very clearly says that there are no certain rule-driven and risk-averse culture, right? So processors values වලට එහෙම ගොඩක් ඇඩිය වෙලා නැහැ කියන එක කියනවා. එතකොට අර ඔයාලා කිව්වාගේ procurement workflows ඒ කියන්නේ layers වැඩි ඒවල මේවා ඒ ප්‍රශ්න ඒවා ගොඩක් තියෙන කතාවක් කියනවා. So what your assessment? I think we say that it's not ready.
Not ready.
Right? Not ready fully, but partially we can think of, right? And then what about the past experience?
Past
That is
experiences, not positive because
Exactly. Past experience,
earlier in the history. Earlier, they have abandoned certain such projects.
correct.
So,
Not positive, right? So if that is the case, definitely there will be an impact on readiness, right? So I
Yeah.
was not ready, right? Make a thundere. Then finally the communication practice.
the
no dialogue in between.
transparency is, yes, lacking transparency.
No transparency.
And no dialogues between people.
No dialogue. Right. I would say again, no ready, not ready, right?
Hmm.
See, I think this resembles exactly our private sector, no? Oh, sorry, public sector, no?
Yes, exactly.
But we are trying to implement a lot of systems and digital technology, which is actually needed and a must do. But I think if you really assess whether the organizational point of view they are really ready, that's a huge question. And also, I don't know whether the policymakers even look into this readiness factor, which is what I wanted to actually emphasize, which we learn in theory, right? You are learning, the people who manage changes, they also learn that first of all that you must assess the readiness of the factors, assess the readiness factors, right, in order to execute the change. But I don't know. I feel even this government, they have a lot of good vision when it comes to digital transformation and all that. I have one participated, Dr. Hans's strategic talk also. Very good framework is there. But a key thing which we feel lacking is the change management aspect of how fast that we can adhere to that particular framework, how fast that we can go to that framework is actually questionable, because the readiness itself is a question. That's what it is. So it's good. I mean, if I ask you to just give certain remedies or how to improve this readiness, you can actually call and you can actually pull out many things, right? You can write many things. For an example, skill gaps, identify skill gaps, plan out proper training and plan out all that you can say. So this is basically an exact question and an answer to your one of your questions, right? So please, I would say one thing. If you see a long write-up in your question paper, don't ignore that. Okay. Okay. So don't ignore that. Now, this is what we have been just talking about. It's a long write-up, but the question is very simple that you can answer, right? So which is what I wanted to tell. Okay, so something similar may come in. So now you know how to address that and you know how to practice that, right? So don't ignore. මේක දාපු ගමන් අරින්න එපා මේක කරන්න කියවලා බලන්න because question may be very simple. Okay, clear? Right, let's move forward. Quick couple of things that I wanted to now take you through. Number one, now why these all change readiness factors, right? මේ අපි කතා කරපු leadership පරාව මේ ඔක්කොම කතන්දරින් නැති වෙන්න හේතුව, one of the main reason, one of the key reason is මතක තියාගන්න the unfreezing change in iceberg theory. The unfreezing phase, right, is not proper, right? ඒක හරියට වෙලා නැහැ, right? And also when it comes to 8 steps, ඒකේ මොනවද කියන්නේ පළවෙනි step එක හැටියට? කොට මොකද්ද පළවෙනි step එක? අපේ 8 steps of change එකේ.
Leadership commitment.
No, පළවෙනි එක මොකද්ද? පළවෙනි එක මතක නැද්ද? change vision එකක් ගැන කතා කරනවා නේද? Yeah. So එතකොට it's one of the important thing is to set the change vision. ඇයි අපි මේ change එක කරන්න කියන එක, it's very much important, right, to set that this thing. So when it comes to a change vision, now these are some of the factors of those a change vision. Now powerful change vision actually describe the future state. හරි, හැම වෙලාවම අපි පෙන්වන්නේ අලුතෙන් අපි යන තැන. ඒ තැනේදී අපිට ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් benefits මොනවාද? අනිත් කට්ටියට organization එක විතරක් නෙමෙයි. ඒ හැම stakeholder කෙනෙක්ටම ලබා ගන්න පුළුවන් benefits මොනවාද? Right? එතකොට මේ change vision එකෙන් ඒ future state එකෙන් clarify කරනවා ඒගොල්ලන්ගේ තියෙන ප්‍රශ්න අපිට මොකක්ද වෙන්නේ. Right? So it actually gives you a clarity, right? And also motivate people emotionally and rationally, right? And provide alignment across all the departments. So that is why the change vision is very much important. When it comes to change vision, you set a very clear, and Cotter says that the change vision must be clear, concise and compelling. So it's very important that you set up a clear change vision. Now, for this example, which we just completed, right? Health Ministry. What is the change vision? Now, I've just given here a transparent, timely, and patient-centered supply chain, ensuring life-saving medicines reach every citizen without delay, right? It's very clear, no? Transparent, timely, and patient-centered, right? To ensuring a supply chain, serving medicines reach every citizen without delay. Right? So මේක තමයි මගේ change vision එක. මම set කරන vision, right? So මෙතනදී අපි තව එක දෙයක් ඉගෙන ගන්නට ඕන. මම මේක ඔයගලන්ට එදා පෙන්නුවාට මම ආපහු ඔයගලන්ට මතක් කරන්න, right? Now අපි organization vision එකකයි change vision එකකයි කතන්දරේ දෙකක්. හරි? Setting up an organization vision and setting up a change vision are two different things, right? දැන් මම එදා කිව්වා, මම එදා පෙන්නුවා ඔයගලන්ට කොහොමද අපි මේ change vision එකක් organization vision එකක්, organization strategy එකක් set කරන්නේ, right? අපි නේ උදාහරණයකට ගමු. මම private sector එකක් ගන්න. හරි? මොකද ඒ අපිට පොඩි එතකොට අපිට ගොඩක් private sector ගන්න අපි මේම කරමු. right, අපි ගමුකෝ අපි company private sector එක. Okay, අපි හිතමු මොකක් හරි එක company එකක revenue එක දැන් currently revenue එක say that okay $100 million. Harry. Now, the board sets a strategy, right? They set a vision that they want to move from 100 million to $500 million turnover, right, in 2 years, right? Right. Vijita, could you please mic mute karna? Right. Okay. Right. Thank you. So we said, okay, this is where we are currently today, right? Where we are, right? This is where we want to be. Right? So this is the current state. This is my future state. Right? So it's very ambitious, from 100 million to 500 million turnover, right? Business එක set කරනවා within 2 years, right? So this is මේක තමයි දැන් board of directors ලා set කරන්නේ as a vision, right? You wanted to be there in 2 years, right? Now, in order to reach that from 100 million to 500 million dollars, right? In order to reach that, we formulate strategies. Right? We formulate strategies. Right? Mokad strategy now, for an example, let's stick to this example. What could be a strategy? One thing, obviously, to increase my sales. Right? I must increase my sales. Right? Increase sales. Hari. තව එකක් වෙන්න පුළුවන් sales increase කරනවා වගේම මම මගේ production capacity එක increase කරන්න වෙනවා. I must increase my production capacity, right? Okay. අපි කියමු bring in new skills. Right? Right. Just stick to this. So what is my vision? Very aspirational, from 100 million to 500 million within 2 years. So in order to achieve that, I build strategies to increase my sales. That is one. Then production capacity and bring new skills into the organization. Right. I'll pull out this production capacity thing. Now, how to increase my production capacity? Right. There are many ways. One, I can build factories. Right? Build factories. Or otherwise, I can acquire. Or I can increase my efficiency within my existing facilities. Right? I mean, either ways, all these ways are possible. Right? So in order for me to increase capacity to cater for my higher sale, to achieve my company's vision, right? I either can build factories or acquire factories, or I can increase efficiencies. So let's stick to this efficiency thing for the moment. So I'm talking about, no, this is not my strategy. I cannot build factories. I'm not going to build factories. That's expensive. I'm not going to even acquire factories. So I'll stick to, I can achieve certain things through increasing efficiency. So how to increase efficiency, right? Say proper monitoring. I'm just putting and then automation, right? You can give several things as well, right? Okay, let's fix our eyes only on automation, right? Right, automation. What are we going to do? Okay, we are going to say purchase certain automated machines, right? Automated, not purchase, I would say start using, okay, automated machines, right? Now see this flow. See this flow, okay? Now, what is the vision? Very aspirational, very high level. We want the organization to move from $100 million to $500 million business turnover, right? In 2 years. Very clear, right? And then in order for us to achieve that goal, in order for us to achieve that future state, right? We develop certain strategies. One is actually increase my sales, second, production capacity, and bring new skills, etc., etc. Now one of that strategies will break into further actionable points, right? One is building factories, acquiring factories, or it can increasing the efficiency of my existing factories, right? So increasing my existing operation, how to increase my existing efficiencies in my factories? Yes, there are certain action points. We must properly monitor our production. We must automate things. We must implement system, etc., etc., all that, right? Now, in automation, one action point is to identify certain automated machines and start implementing that action point, right? Now, this is a change initiative. You understand what I'm saying? Now, this is a change initiative, very specific and actionable point within the entire organization vision, right? Within the organization mission is very clear action point in order for us to achieve what? In order for us to achieve the organization's vision, or organization's goal, right? So this become our change project. Now, all what we have learned, we are going to put into this. Now, even a change vision, now when we set up a vision for this, that becomes my change vision, right? That becomes my change vision. So everything evolves in this particular change vision. Now, here is my mission, is my organization's vision, right? So in order to achieve that, I create my org's vision. Right? But a change vision is an action point in order for us to achieve my org's vision. Am I clear in this part? Make it clear then.
Yes.
Now, see, this is how we build strategy. If you really learn strategic management, this is how you build strategy. You set up a vision, and then you develop certain elements in order for you to achieve that. And those becomes your strategies to achieve certain company goals or visions, right? So always a change vision, a change management, a change is actually an actionable point, right, of an entire organization vision that we need to keep in mind, right? So setting up that vision, change vision, is what we have been discussing right now, right? Setting up that. So see, now I've given organization vision is actually a long-term strategic jump, right? From 100 million to 500 million, right? Within 2 years, or it could be 5 years, what not, right? So it's very long time. It's a strategic jump that we wanted to have, right? And it's very broad, right? You see, very broad. It's just a strategy. We wanted to be there. That's going to be our new state in 5 years, 500 million, right? It's very broad and it's very aspirational, right? Now see, moving a business from 100 million to 500 million is not an easy jump, right? if it is from 100 million to 150, 180 million, yes, possibly can think of. 500 million is not, but it's very aspirational, right? It's very aspirational jump, right? And apply to the entire situation, the whole organization, right? So it does not apply only to the sales. It actually applies to the entire organization, right? The entire thing, right? But when it comes to change vision, right? It's very specific to a particular transformation. Now, what is the transformation? From manual machines, we are going to move into an automated machines, right? Manual machines to automated machines. And it's very short term and medium term. The manual machines are maru kana avrudu ganan inne, right? So you can you set up a project and you set up a timeline and you execute, right? And defines what the system will look like after change. Very clearly තියෙනවා. Again, අපි දැන් use කරන්නේ manual machines, but now after about 6 months, we wanted to use only automated machines. So we'll have all automated machines, which we try to increase our production efficiency, which actually have an impact on my capacity and which will have an impact on my strategic goal, right? And it is very more actionable points. Very, very important. Change initiatives, change visions are always actionable. It's not strategic. Now, strategy is setting up a vision, right? Now, here it's actionable. මේකට මම machines, automated machines ගෙනල්ලා අපි automated machines වලට change over එකකට යන්න යනවා, right? It's very actionable, right? So you must understand and should be able to distinguish the organizational vision and the change vision and how these two things link together, right? In entire organization setting. Any questions?
No, sir.
Right. As an example, what is an organization vision? Deliver high quality public service to all citizens efficiently and transparently, right? But what is the change vision when it comes to EGP implementation, right? To move to all procurement online by 2026, improving transparency, reducing processing time by 30%, and ensuring the auditability, right? Now, මේ විදිහට අපිට පුළුවන් වෙන්න ඕන අපිට very clear change vision එකක් set කරන්න, because that is actually drives the readiness of your organization. That actually has a great impact in readiness of your organization for the change initiative that you wanted to execute, right? So that concludes what we wanted to discuss today. So it's all about how to assess the readiness and to set up a change vision and to understand the difference between change and an organizational vision. Why? Because we want to make the organization ready in order for us to execute a change. Because if the organization is not ready, if you push the change, many things will break. Many things will have a lot of effects and you will have a lot of waste. You will waste time and money and all that. And finally, it will be a disaster and also a failure, right? මේක තමයි අපිට අද බලන්න ඕනේ. Any questions up to that?
No, sir.
Yeah, එහෙම නැත්නම් අපි we'll meet up on, I think, next Wednesday, right? Is it next Wednesday?
We haven't called it, sir.
You haven't, they have not notified you?
No, not yet.
I told that, okay, we can do either Wednesday evening, even a little later in the evening. I'm okay with that because all of y'all are working. I'm also working. So if it is okay, it's okay. Otherwise, if you wanted to continue for another Saturday, that is also okay with me. But the only thing that will happen is like it will shift to mid-Feb, which the uni wants to actually finish it by end Feb and have a revision session, I think the first week of Feb, if I'm not mistaken.
So we have to do a presentation for the assignment. right?
That is with me, right? Yeah.
Yes. So for that, they have put it as 20th January, but
That is
we
Sunday,
didn't.
right?
යතුර ගන්නවා.
Sunday, right?
ඔව් මේකනේ මේකට එන කට්ටිය එතනදී මේ යතුර ගත්තාම
And
ඉල්ලයිනේ.
No, sir. It is mentioned in the assignment document as the 20th January, so that is a Tuesday. But we
I know that. Yeah. That is
haven't-
Tuesday, but I think I asked them to schedule a presentation because the whole reason is actually I can ask you to write something, but the whole reason is now writing has become just useless thing, right? People will put something chat GPT and ask somebody to write and then come and give, and we give marks, right? But it's easier that if you can present for about 5 minutes or 15 minutes, whatever it is, and then you also will be knowledgeable and we also can assess you properly. So I think Uni will set up a times for each and every one who can actually present. So I can assess and give marks for the first assignment. And that is also, I think I've discussed with the Uni, but I don't know, maybe they have not yet communicated with you. They'll do that very soon.
Okay, so okay.
Yeah, sir, I'm Lakshan, sir. I would like to, if we can conduct that presentation on Saturday.
Yeah, it will be either on Sunday or Saturday, either of those
Yeah,
days.
sir. Yeah.
It is not definitely not the weekdays. And also you don't have to stay for a long time. I mean, I think I asked them to give each and every one of you a 15-minute slot. So you just come and present and go. That's all. Just for 15 minutes, come and present, and then so that way it's easy for you and you don't have to waste time.
Okay, sir.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
So now I have given you mostly possible 2 questions for the paper, right? One is the assignment, second one is this today's lesson, right? So it's good that you actually practically did this, so you don't have to worry about anything. Yeah.
Thank you so
All
much, sir,
right.
for that.
Thank you.
Sir.